podcasting. Yes, 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 yes. That's what we're doing. You think about it, you have hard days of work, and you're kind of plotting so much different like goals and executing on different tasks that you need to execute on and stuff, and you're kind of wondering, okay, like when you look at everything, you wonder, is the American dream, you know, I took me a long time to find, understand that it is almost a barbaric, aggressive navigation to execute on things. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta somewhat do it with a little finesse too, but it is a kill or be killed type of process to it, so I do kind of understand that and get it in the, how most people conduct themselves with each other, you know what I mean? And I grown to understand that what you want to try to pass to your children, if you have children out there, or your family or people that you may mentor or something like that, is the ability to understand that passiveness will be your weakness overall. You don't want to breed a culture of passiveness. That sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, it's the truth. Passiveness can set you up for failure. Now, I'm not a passive person. But I do understand the navigation of giving the perception of passiveness. That's the trick. You get what I'm saying? And when you're doing that, that may be at your own peril. And you're not intending to do harm to yourself. You're trying to be a communicative person. You're trying to be a kind of a cohesive, let's all kind of get into the tent and fight for what we're trying to go for. And what we're trying to go for is something that we all have agreed, this is what we're going to try to give our muscle to, you know what I mean? Give our aggressiveness to. And sometimes you'll find out that you're gonna end up being a subject of the time you're in or the circumstances that you're living in, and I think a lot of Americans, they live in a great country with great opportunity, but they don't understand why they're not crossing that how can I say, that achievement bubble, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's because we are kind of trying to keep ourselves, or maybe perceive that the majority of society is, how can I say, communicative or unified, or how can I say, a cohesiveness. But the truth of the matter is there's life is black and white. I know that's a concept that a lot of people don't like to have, because they kind of say, hey, well, certain scenarios kind of put you in a situation where it's different. Everybody's different. No, you either going up or you're going down. You're either falling or you're rising. You know what I mean? You're either good or you're bad. You either did or you didn't. You know what I mean? And once you understand that, that's not philosophical, that's just the way it is. in philosophical banter, philosophical ideology is to make it seem like there's some kind of intellectual or philosophy to the way things are going in your life, but really you're doing the same thing that billions of people that came before you did. You're either going up, you're going down, you're either wrong or you're right. It's either is or it's not. It's black or white. You know what I mean? You're either good or bad, you know? So you either did or you didn't, you know? So it's like, it's just, that's the way it is. And once you unlock, that's the outcome that you're going to actually be getting to out of whatever your goals are, whatever your drive is, whatever you're trying to accomplish or who you're trying to be. Once you understand that, it's gonna fall into a black and white scenario, and you keep fighting for middle ground or an evaluation or not making a decision and trying to thresh on the thread. You're trying to, how can I say, stay on the fence and stuff. You'll find out that your life is not getting to where you don't understand you did this, or you going towards this, or you tried to achieve this, or you were attempting to do this, but you're not seeing it. You're not seeing the outcome. You're not seeing the outcome because sometimes the journey you have to take, the decisions you have to make, and when you do something, you're going to alienate your loved ones, your partners, your friends, your community, your social circle. Once you decide, nope, I got to make a decision now, and I got to be black and white, and I got to do or don't. The task and the direction that is you're going to go in, or what you got to do to actually do or execute, you're going to find that it is not favorable to people that don't agree or people that don't perceive what's in your head. And rich people, very successful people, very people you look up to, people you kind of aspire to be, they've done this already. They made this decision. They have a black and white life. They'll never tell you that because that's the cheat code. And also, when you tell people that, there's two things that's going to happen. You're going to lose your persona. So whatever's you're perceived as, how you're perceived as, now people can make a real judgment about you and who you are and how you think. It's not left in the clouds. It's not in hypotheticals. It's not in theorizing. Once you establish, this is what I did to get to here, now logic comes into play. And most celebrities, most social influencers, most elitists, most movie stars and musicians and politicians, they stop the American people. They stop the individual citizen from being able to calculate that. So the game is to keep you in a place where, oh, I feel he's dogmatic, but he never really displayed it. Yeah, he displayed it, but he covered it up or retract himself or something like that, where you didn't get the chance to take it in, or she did to take it in. So that's why, and the reason why I say this is because we the people, we need to be individuals. And individuals are people that don't want to lie to themselves. They do not want to lie to themselves. They would not allow themselves to lie to themselves. You wouldn't want that in your right mind. In your right mind, you will want the truth. You will want to know, be aware of what life is and what it is, and what to communicate and what to mentor your children and your family or your whoever you're like people you need to be able to have better outcome under you or around you. You will want to be able to be in a execution, a do environment. And the best way you're going to be able to do that is you're going to have to, number one, stop the lies, stop the subjective narrative, stop the gray area. And the only way you're going to do that is you have to become individual, meaning that you would not want to lie to yourself in your right mind. Culture teaches you how to lie to yourself, how to manipulate yourself. And that is gearing towards someone else's philosophical view of how the world will be, not your view. So every single human being wants freedom of truth, and then the process of how to make it work for themselves. Okay? This Individual Perspective Podcast, I'm your host, Daris D, McKinney, and I'm coming on just to have a conversation. This is the 250th anniversary or birthday of America, and I wanted to just come in and start off, just kind of take you guys through some points of views that I want to talk about. Whew. I had a long day. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off how we always start off, where we got to protect ourselves from haters, from people that want you to not open your mouth and have the freedom of speech. So they try to lock you into the pussiness of YouTube, where YouTube stops you from saying all kind of phrases and everything, and you're not really American speaking freedom of speech in the American language. So in order for you to be free to communicate what you want to communicate, you got to give a disclaimer. Here's my disclaimer. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney. 250 birthday of United States of America. Of the United States of America. I don't know why they put it like that, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Okay, y'all. We got to get this going. We got to get it going, okay? We got to get it going, okay? So, yeah, I know I kind of go into like some rants sometimes about the craziness of our psychology, and it's just, I think it's just, when you look at all the craziness of our lives and everything, you see, yeah, most of the time it's we are subject to a herd mentality. You know what I mean? Where we're not really fighting the fight that we want to fight. You know what I mean? And I see it in this big debate with the like the politicians and stuff like that, and the socialist movement that's going on in the country and stuff like that, and it's like, you know, you think about it, you say like, okay, I always say my biggest problems with the Republicans is almost like they're innocent bystanders to the destruction of the country. You know what I mean? This is your job. Y'all supposed to handle this stuff. You know, you're supposed to combat this stuff, you know, but how you going to combat it when you feel like you got to passively like pussyfoot around with a bunch of people that are just completely, their philosophy and their way of doing things is emotion and feelings, what they think the moral thing to do, and what the moral thing to do would destroy a person's freedoms. Like what's morally conscious for me, for you to do, and how you should live, that could take away your individual freedom. You get what I'm saying? What's my moral guidelines can step all over your freedoms, all over your personal rights, your actual individual freedom to make whatever judgment you need to make for your circumstances. And what socialists and the Democrat Party does as a whole, and all it is only thing, the difference between the Socialist Party that's coming out with all these different socialist candidates coming out in the Democrat Party, only difference is that they're actually saying the policies that they always were trying to get passed, or they're trying to actually formulate the country in. Same thing that you see Madani and Al Sadi, gentleman from Dearborn, Michigan, and Kairos from I forgot where she's from, like Colorado or something like that, and AOC. All they're talking about is the things that they always been talking about. It's not nothing new. They just saying it under the umbrella of socialists, but it's the same policies that Biden talked about, same bills that and legislation that Biden talked about and tried to pass and got passed, and what Obama talked about, same amnesty stuff that Obama did, and all that crazy stuff, and all the socialist things, and the ideological point of view about money and everything like that. Even Obama, he's such a like ridiculous person that even now that he's making $200 to $300 million off of deals and Netflix and all that stuff like that, he still is taking on a socialist mindset, but he's kind of under the understanding that most likely it won't happen in his lifetime, that he can somehow secure his money before it really takes hold. And it's crazy. But at the same time, there's nothing different between these. Are policies that there's nothing. I know, trust me. The only problem with this is, and I always say, like, the Tea Party was a pussy party. It was a weak ass party, and it shows. History shows it. You get what I'm saying? The Republican Party was weak. Reagan made the Republican Party weak. People don't think so, but Reagan is all philosophical banter, philosophical theories of the Republican Party. But what he actually did was be very destructive to the Republican Party. He made them be so like military complex. He gave a lot of power to the CIA. He did a lot of stuff to have the ideological point of view of the free market. And under no matter what, you got to try to have the ideology of the free market, but the free market can't be put on when the divide of rules and regulations and taxes and stuff is like placed upon America for the greatness that we are, but we kind of give like leniency to China, to Thailand, you know what I mean, to all the European countries and stuff like that. So fast forward 30, 40 years now, and now we can't even we can't even get to a equal playing field because we gave so much levity and so much power to people 30 years ago. But now that they're making the same kind of money we're making, we're saying, okay, hey man, hold on a second, we got to have equal trade. As much cars you sell in America, we got to be able to sell it in your country, China or Japan or Europe and all other stuff. But we can't even get in that discussion because Americans and the actual American people in the Republican Party feels like, hey, we can never really debate equilibrium because we want to have the idealism of free market. Even if it's not real and we take a loss, we want the image and the idealism of free market. Not that it really needs to be free market. We need to have the idealism of it. And they're willing to destroy the country for that. They're willing to destroy the country, the Republicans, conservative Christians. They're willing to destroy the country in the idealism of trying to be unified. Not that we're unified. Not that the Democrats and Antifa and socialists and the radical communist side of the fence, they're kind of in an ideological point of view of whatever it takes. We would kill your president. Like, people don't understand what's going on with the Republican Party. Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk kind of built a wall of defense against the Democrats. Never again will Democrats have the power of the white liberal or white woman, suburban woman vote anymore. That would never be able to be like the power over who wins the election anymore. That's what Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump did. So Charlie Kirk, just as many white women vote against Republicans. Charlie Kirk had young, vibrant, conservative freedom fighters, individual freedom fighters, young people that never was really part of the demographic of consistently voting. He had them go to the voting booth, and guess who they voted for? Trump. You get what I'm saying? That's how powerful Charlie Kirk was. When they killed Charlie Kirk, the Republicans don't even see this. Even Trump is, I don't even think he could see it. I don't think he understands it until it's too late. And the Republicans don't. Look at how these midterm and these the elections of last year, late last year, and the elections of these midterm primaries of this year, look how much voice weak people have to overthrow and have the narrative of socialism. Trust me, if Charlie Kirk was alive, he would have had a lot of young people, a lot of college kids going to the voting booth just as much as the crazy liberal college kids, and it would counteract a lot of votes, and they wouldn't have steam like that. You have a lot of good stuff that was popping off, but when they killed Charlie Kirk, they knew they killed the future of the Republican Party. Not that Charlie Kirk would become the president, that Charlie Kirk knew that he actually have a model. In his establishment, they have a model of how to get the ground game out, how to actually execute on the counteracting on the white liberal woman's vote. You get what I'm saying? Or not the white liberal woman, because conservative white women voted badly too, because they was voting emotionally and morally, and the counteracting of that was the movement that Charlie Kirk, and it's including white women, it's including young white women, but it was people that were really wasn't gonna be combative and come out there and be anti all the stuff that the white woman, they could not white woman, but the white suburban mom would actually be voting. Because sometimes the white suburban mom, she would kind of vote for things that against her, it's really against her actual life and what she would probably want for her kids and stuff, but she would do it because she thinks it's inclusive and it's morally the right thing to do. So she will vote for somebody that is completely not a good person to vote for. Slothin, the piece of shit ex-CIA agent that's from the Democrat Party, from Michigan. That's a terrible, like, spy. That's a spook that you're not supposed to trust. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of these people, a lot of the lady, the governor, they just nominated, or they just elected in from I think that's Virginia. That's a spook. Okay, these are people you do not, when you hear that a candidate was an ex-CIA agent, don't trust them. Don't trust them. Do not vote for them. They're about a con. They're about manipulation. They're about making you think that what you're going for is not what's going to happen. They trick you. They trick your mind, and that's what they thing is. That's how they speak. They can communicate a lie to you straight up. Number one goal of a CIA agent is to lie really good. That you fail if you don't have that ability. Okay, you can't become an agent. You have to fool your adversary. You have to fool the enemy. You get what I'm saying? So the worst thing you could do is let them become politicians. Let them become people that wield the sword of legislation. It's crazy. I could do this forever. Okay, so I'm gonna stop with that. Okay, so that's my point of it is to say that the whole purpose of America was anti-royalty citizens in England and different fascists of European culture and the royalty culture and monarch culture. They hated to not have the voice to speak for themselves, and they hated it so bad that they were rich people, probably was able to be in court and all that stuff, but they decided that they wanted to fight the cause of, like, the peasants. They wanted to give the power of an average peasant to say what he wanted to say about the king. You know what I mean? Have the ability to back it up with personal protection. That's their theory. So obviously it was no policy to see that going on in Europe and to pass that kind of ability through the king and the monarch and all that stuff. So they decided to find elsewhere land. You know what I mean? So they traveled and searched and did all the stuff and like plotted slavery to have an assistant to the framing, and it ain't good. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm just being real about it. So they, through blood and sweat and tear and trials and tribulations and darkness of intentionality and a moral consciousness thrown amok, you get what I'm saying? They decided to come and make America. And then when they start to articulate what's the concept and what's the purpose and what was the founding purpose of doing this, they had to kind of communicate it and then put it into writing. What was, even though we had to do some like brutal stuff and some violent stuff and some aggressive stuff in order to get to the task and the goals that we needed to accomplish to build this situation we got over here, this colony situation that we got over here on this land, what was the concept of it? What's the purpose of it? And that gave you the United States of America Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Okay, that's the purpose. So when somebody tell you what's the purpose of America, what was they trying to do here? Why do people like America? What's the point of America? It was America was given the concept to give the middle finger to royalty, to give the middle finger to the elites, and for the average person to have the power to do that. Okay? That's what America is for. So even like my poster, I have it where it says, how can I say? It says, on one side, it says destruction of the United States of America. And on the other side, it says sustain, what is this? I can't really see it. It's too small for me. It's sustain a broken system. Okay. And then the people that's in the middle is individual freedom. This is the purpose of it, really. The people on each side, they have like a point of view of why what's the purpose of America and how they see, not even the purpose of America, what they see the vision of America is. And that's all biased stuff. That's a personal point of view. That's an emotional, moral point of view, the destruction of the United States of America, because that means you look at it from your finite thought process, but it has no vetting to it. Sustain a broken system means you're not even trying to like evaluate what's going on. In the real true purpose of America is for individual freedom. Everything needs to be weighted to how does this work for individual freedom? How does each law, each rights work for individual freedom? Not a certain type of person, not a certain point of view. It's for every individual citizen. Is what's right for you, right for me. And what's right for me, right for you. You get what I'm saying? And that's how the concept of the actual country was built. I don't know why this image is not wide either, so that's what I'm doing. I'm in back end trying to make the image wider. Okay, I'm going in my AI system. Sorry. So, for example, it goes back to what I'm saying about the fight that's going on inside of America. You know what I mean? And the fight that's going on inside of America, you have somebody like Zadani. We're going to listen to him talk about, he gave a speech to his point of view of what the 250th anniversary is. And it's crazy. Okay. But like what I want to show you is your country is going to get destroyed, and it's going to be a figment of imagination as long as this is what is on the opposition from. Okay, let me play this real quick. That'd be better if I just play it.
Welcome to today's Blueprint News. The battle for Maine's U.S. Senate seat is becoming one of the most competitive races to watch in the 2026 election cycle. While recent polling suggests the Democratic challenger has a slight edge in current voter sentiment, our latest PollsMax forecast indicates that the race remains highly competitive, with Republican Senator Susan Collins still holding a narrow advantage when it comes to the overall election projection. Let's break down the numbers. According to the latest PollsMax polling average, Democratic candidate Graham Plattner is currently leading with 46.7%, while incumbent Republican Senator Susan Collins stands at 45.1%. That gives Democrats a narrow 1.5-point advantage in the current polling average. However, when PollsMax applies its election forecasting model, which factors in polling trends, historical voting behavior, regional strength, and electoral dynamics, the picture changes slightly. The projected vote share shows Susan Collins at 50.5%, while Graham Plattner is projected at 49.5%. That means
Now, Graham Plattner, this is a guy that had a Nazi tattoo for the pretty much majority of his life, okay? And when he decided to go into politics because of his belief in his mouth and his communication on social media made him be an eye of the Democrat Party or the social elites that put money behind politicians and stuff like that. They seen that he's like a fighter, you know, because they think in order to beat Trump, you have to have the verbose of Trump. But these people got fake verbose. Trump is Trump. Trump been like that. His personality is that he is his own spokesperson and he speaks for his own self, and he will never take another person's narrative to articulate himself or to give his opinion about how he feels about certain things. That's how he feels. I'm going to be my own advocate. I'm going to have my own mind. I'm going to say what I want to say because I'm a free speaking human being, and I'm not going to kowtow to circumstances and culture and all that other stuff. That's how Trump thinks. These people are people that want to be, they want to be like Trump, but in their way. You get what I'm saying? But they're all they're doing is trying to mimic what they theorize is what his point is. Now, they're giving you some kind of generic switcheroo to say that Susan Collins is doing good in another way that you read it. But in the true valuation of how the race is really going are these numbers. So you got to ask yourself, why is a guy this is on his own words, you can do your research on this, why is a guy that says that women deserve to get raped if they leave the house in a way that's not representative of modesty? I guess that's what his point of view was. And he says that and these are actual words. I'm not going to say anything on my podcast that you can't look up and see that it's true. Okay. He says that, he didn't know what his Nazi tattoo was, but he wore it for 20 years. You get what I'm saying? And only when he kind of became a potential candidate for the Senate. And that's powerful. Senate is more powerful than Congress, y'all. He decided to get it covered, but 20 something years he had it showing. Girlfriends that he had before tell him that he would call it his something. I can't remember the name, but it was like a pride in white Nazism or some crazy stuff. Okay, so. And then additional to that, he was kind of like doing all kind of wild stuff. And you guys got to go look it up. I'm not going to go run through his dirty laundry. Not right now. But obviously, my point is he's a terrible candidate because he got too much baggage. And nobody in their right mind will want to vote for somebody like this. Because that means that you don't even care about all the things that you say you care about. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just saying I don't care. I don't care who they vote for. I'm not voting for no liberal. I'm not voting for anybody. But Susan Collins is such a hack herself. She's a piece of shit person too. You get what I'm saying? But under no circumstances will I vote for him as a liberal on the Democrat side, on the socialist side, over somebody that's a little bit leaning freedom, individualism, the Constitution, even a little bit. If she's coming like more, if like it's 50-50 and she's like 60 or 55, I'm going with her. It's logical. I don't want nobody to take away or destroy my individual freedoms, my individual rights. And that's at least Susan Collins go towards that. But she's getting her ass whooped by somebody that's truly is a Nazi. They accused Trump of being a Nazi, but this guy was truly a Nazi, and he actually had the tattoo on him. Okay, just crazy. To be even debating about this is stupid. Okay, but why is she losing to this guy if she's clean? Because she hates Trump. She votes against Trump. I think she voted to impeach him. Was one of the Republicans that voted to impeach him. Why is she losing to him? Because of this.
U.S. Senator Susan Collins is responding to corruption allegations from her opponent this November. Last week, we told you Democrat Graham Plattner alleged Collins enriched herself while in office through stock purchases and steered tens of millions of dollars in federal contracts to her husband's old firm in the 2010s. Collins says she's never owned or traded any stocks during her 30 years in office and adheres to the highest ethical standards.
These are just totally false allegations, and he is levying them in the hope that by lying about my character, he will divert attention from his own egregious misconduct. There are many, many differences, starting with I've never had a Nazi tattoo.
Okay, now she made a great point there. That was a good line that she had. But she got Parkinson, and she's a frail, weak lady. Okay? Now, I'm be real with y'all. The fight that the Democrats are pulling now and that they are having with the murder of Charlie Kirk, they actually doing stuff. The riots of George Floyd White, they're physically showing you that the underbelly of the actual political party, Democrat Party, is aggressive, and they're murderers, and they're aggressive anarchists and everything. They telling you that. They showing you that. It's very consistent. It's very consistent. In the fight, in opposition that they keep getting their ass whooped with, is this aggressive, bullheaded, arrogant Americanism guy named Donald J. Trump. So if the opposition to a socialist, anarchist, communist, murderous party is the Democrats, and the opposition to that is Trump, you can't have nobody on the battlefield like this, because the psychosis of protection in fighting comes to the mind of the voter. Trust me, this is primal, meaning that the suburban mom, she's gonna go for this white tough guy that's like a tough guy like Trump, but he's a tough guy like what we need him to be. But no matter if he had his Nazi tattoo, he got it covered up. That's what they're gonna look. I know it sounds crazy. Now, yes, I hope that Susan Collins wins. I don't understand how the hell we didn't primary her. I don't understand. I think they was too scared to even drive her out and have an aggressive person there. But when you're on the other side of the table is a ex-Nazi, it's crazy that they didn't primary her and have somebody more living. This lady been in Congress for 30 years. This is about time, okay? But we got to keep her in Congress because on the opposite side is radical. Radical. But that's what I mean. You cannot save this country with soldiers like Susan Collins. If that's your soldier, and go look at her history. When the fight came for freedom, when the fight came for a fighter, she was against that stuff. She tried to destroy Trump. Y'all don't even understand. Our country will be in a hell. I don't care how you feel about Trump. It would be in a shittier situation if this guy didn't win these 2 times. We will be really bad. Really bad. Dumb people like Tucker Carlson, he got his ideological point of view from the CIA, from his father, or whatever ideological point of view he has, that I don't care what you do for the country as long as you don't support Israel. That's how Tucker Carlson thinks. As long as you don't support Israel, I don't care what happens to the country. I don't care if you close the borders. I don't care if you have a trade fight with every country under the sun. Because no other Republican would have ever did that. No Republican would have did a trade war with all the countries in the world to make sure that we got a fair, balanced situation. No other president would have seen that there's a way that you can bring manufacturing back to America by making all the products that we sell in America. We gonna make it in America and sell it to our actual citizens instead of making it in China, making it in Thailand, making it in New Zealand, making it in Taiwan, and then shipping it over here. And they put tariffs on us to be able to put our products into their country. So what we say is, if we can't put our products into your country, all the products that you sell in this country, we gonna build it here. That's what Trump did. That's the point of it. No Republican would have did it. And how I know? Ted Cruz been in government forever. He never did it. Never got no legislation to do it. You get what I'm saying? All the other Marco Rubio and all these people, they were just passively. They had no political power. They had no political persuasion to get bills passed like this or anything. Trump did it. Okay? So specific things that if you're gonna have a fighter like Trump, he's gonna vet the people. And if, no matter how you think about them, you got to vote for those people. So Susan Collins, because I just feel like hopefully, God bless her, she wins. And we can start seeing it as we cannot go to future elections with having on our side these frail, weak people fighting against socialists, fighting against rioters and anarchists and socialists and in the moral thought process Democratic Party, which what they perceive as morally judgments as what placed upon our freedoms. That's the problem. And you have to have aggressive people and go-getters and aggressive people to fight against that. A lot of people want to talk about Trump, about his businesses and how much money he makes in his trusts and all that stuff like that. This man been a billionaire. He lost and gained. If you can't, any of y'all lose $6 billion in investments in trial and errors of building businesses and loans and all that stuff, lose it. And then before you die, go $6 billion in the hole and then die with $14 billion to $24 billion of assets and liquid. Can any of y'all do that? This man is able to put $1 billion to $2 billion of his liquid and put it into investments and have his investors make great decisions, and it makes money for him even when he's not even president. I mean, even when he's not a regular citizen and he's the president and is in a trust just booming, and his organization is, and his companies is just, and his investors and his people that's utilizing his money, they just making billions for him. You can't hate him for that. That's what made the difference. He had no friends, Republicans or Democrats, movie stars, studios. He had no friends in our society. His money and him being economically powerful to throw his money into the actual war gave him his own backing that you wasn't able to just destroy him. He was able to take a case from a local court all the way up to the Supreme Court. That in the Supreme Court, Congress, senators, lawyers, suburbans, and a lot of people trying to destroy that ability of an individual person to fight for themselves, like to truly fight for yourself. Only way you can win a court case, only way you can keep your freedoms is if society decides that what our opinion of you is what you're gonna live. Our perception of you is what's gonna live. Not if it's not true. It's just we believe that and you suffer what we believe. Nope, you get to fight for your name. You get to fight for your freedoms. And the bad part about it is Trump showed if you truly gonna fight against Suburbans, the top 4 studios that make movies and give great narrative to movies and stuff like that, and all news organizations, and the 2 political parties that we have, the Democrat and the Republican Party, and a corrupt judge and judicial system. If you're gonna fight against that, you gotta have $1 billion. That's the bad part. Trump actually showed us how much it costs to keep your freedoms. It costs $1 billion. Okay? So I'm just saying, when you look at something like this radical guy versus Susan Collins with Parkinson, and she's kind of frail, and she's been in the Senate for 30 years, and she's kind of at the end of the rope, people gonna go to the younger person just on reflex of, oh, come on, she's kind of frail, and yeah, I might as well go with this guy. But I don't even know, like, once you have factual evidence that he had a Nazi tattoo on him, and he's talked about, like, women deserve to be raped because how they leave the house and stuff. Once he actually says that and have data and you have factual evidence of that, then he's not even an option. But that he is, lets you know it's a different underbelly war going on. It's something else going on. It's another fight that's going on. A lot of people say, "Oh, we're gonna fight at the ballot." Charlie Kirk's dead. Okay, they're not only keeping it at the ballot. They're not only keeping it at, like, election and political point of view. They're very in your face physically, and how they physically dominate over society, physically and threatening. And what they can't do as a ideological activist, they have Antifa do it. Okay? And we'll get into all that detailed stuff of Antifa and all that stuff, because a lot of people say, well, who is Antifa? Who is Antifa? Who is Antifa? Like, there's no physical evidence of a group or group of people calling themselves Antifa. You get what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. So I just want to show you guys that, and I don't want to, like, harp on this. I'm gonna try to make this just an hour again, and we'll go to the next episode, and I'll bring you some more kind of videos and stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. Let's go to this conversation. I don't know how much I can watch of this, but let's try.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. Season after season, year after year, the tides have come in and out of New York Harbor. Long before the name New York had ever been spoken, Lenape dugouts crossed these currents. It was on these waters that tall masts crested the horizon, captained by explorers like Verrazano and Hudson, after whom we've named our bridges and rivers. And ever since, ships full of travelers weary from long journeys have passed through the Narrows, the winds of the Atlantic at their backs. When those passengers lifted their heads to glimpse what lies just beyond the waves, what did they see? They saw land, lush and teeming with life. They saw men waiting at the docks to take them into bondage. They saw tenements rife with squalor. They saw industry rumbling with activity, steam and smoke rising, a city on the move. They saw a towering monument to freedom, her torch-glowing worldwide welcome. They saw New York City. They saw America. Tomorrow, our nation marks 250 years since we declared our independence. 250 years of a grand experiment in self-governance, an experiment so audacious that some in 1776 doubted.
And don't forget, he said, it's self-government. It's self-governance. Do you understand that? So certain pains and cause and effect and repercussions of you not having true understanding of self-reliability and self-execution. I learned this the hard way, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are learning it in their own lives. Self-governance is how you get your prosperity. It's how you get you. The sad part about it is, yes, you're gonna have to understand that it's not a team playing sport. You have to kind of manipulate and maneuver certain things in order to work for your benefit. That's the truth.
It would last more than a few years, let alone a quarter of a millennium. From Lexington to Los Angeles, Selma to Seneca Falls, Morrisania to Midwood, Americans will come together for a day, just as we do each year. Families will gather around the grill. Fireworks will fill the night sky. This will be no ordinary day of celebration. 250 years presents a rare opportunity for more than 340 million people to turn together, both towards one another and towards ourselves, to take measure of who we are as a nation. When we look at America, what do we see? Here at City Hall, as I sit behind George Washington's desk, alongside new Americans who came to this country, I cannot see all of America. But like so many who came before, I can see New York City. The city I see today looks very different than the one that greeted George Washington. In July of 1776, our city simmered under the yoke of oppression. The British had imposed a colonial rule so repressive that 250 years ago, 80 miles south, a small group of newspaper editors, farmers, and soldiers signed their names on a document declaring truths that feel self-evident now, but were revolutionary then, establishing the ideals our nation still strives to fulfill. The British did not take it well. War broke out, and that August, as the largest battle of the Revolutionary War unfolded in Brooklyn, batteries on Governor's Island took aim at British ships anchored just offshore. We were outgunned, we were outmanned, and we were soundly defeated. After only a few months, it appeared our fledgling attempt at democracy was on the precipice of collapse. But that night, with the moon overhead, thousands of our soldiers silently climbed into ferries and flat-bottomed boats and escaped to Manhattan. The Continental Army survived to fight another day. Independence may have been declared in Philadelphia, but it was rescued in New York City. George Washington was the last to leave Brooklyn. As he waited at the river's edge, the sun beginning its rise, he would have looked out over New York City's waters and seen what so many have seen in the 250 years since: an opportunity to begin anew. Those opportunities, like everything in New York City, are not given. They are won. In 1838, 11 years after New York outlawed slavery, a recently emancipated black man by the name of James Weeks sought to begin anew as well, and to help hundreds of others do the same. He bought property in Brooklyn, won himself the right to vote, and sold lots to others newly freed. When they landed in New York Harbor, they knew they had something waiting for them that they had never had before: a home. Weeksville still stands today, a living, breathing testament to what we know America to be, a place each of us has the power to make. The harbor was busy those years as ships poured in from around the world. Hundreds of thousands of Irish immigrants arrived with stomachs aching from a famine manufactured by imperial cruelty. Chinese sailors settled in what is today Chinatown. Millions more traveled under the Statue of Liberty and through Ellis Island. Jewish people escaping pogroms, Italians fleeing poverty, Syrians seeking economic opportunity. Each of these new arrivals peered through portholes onto a city that was changing as fast as the nation. They saw merchants.
And what he's trying to do is tell you that there should not be any borders. Like, if people desire to come here and they help make this country better by just deciding that they wanted to come here, and we should just allow them to just come here. The problem with that is you got about 8.4 billion people. They say that if we were to not regulate our border, they say about 1.4 billion people will come to this country. Do you think you could share your electricity, your gas, your roads, your economic situation, if your taxes need to be used to help you get out of bad situations, or to be formulated to, because number one purpose of taxes is to protect the country, to make sure we got an overabundance of military soldiers, and technically we need about 2 million American soldiers ready to fight at any given time. That's what the data says and the science says. And military jets and military ships that we kind of neglected to build until we seen that China and Russia was doing some advanced stuff, so we tried to speed up our building of ships. We're a little bit behind, but we understand that we gotta catch up. Number one purpose of taxes is to protect the country's borders. It was not meant to help people economically, like feed their kids and all the other stuff, which it's good that it's there, because if you got money left over for building ships and jets and making sure that we're protected, use that money to help the people, give it back to the people. I'm 100% for that. You get what I'm saying? But allowing the world people to come here and become citizens because their ideological point of view of something better that's in America, that's got to be regulated. That's got to be regulated. And what he's saying is, it's not to be regulated.
Peddling their wares.
Whatever happens, happens. That's his point of view.
On the docks, streets being laid out on a grid, buildings rising into the clouds. They could not yet see the nativism they would face, the jobs they would be refused, the landlords who would not rent to them, and the abject labor and living conditions they would
See what I'm saying?
See what I'm saying? No matter how much smog hung over the harbor, they still saw an opportunity to begin anew. Over the years that followed, despite laws enacted by the federal government to bar their entry, despite sweatshop fires that killed hundreds of women's, despite riots aimed at their very existence,
ridiculous,
immigrants made homes here in New York City, and they helped to make New York City. That legacy of every generation of Americans insisting that the right to life.
Like I said, I talk about this in birthright citizen stuff and everything, and I talked about it in the beginning of this this series that I'm doing right now about the 250th anniversary of America. We have phenomenal immigrants that were legally came here, legally married in, legally here as citizens. We're not talking about those citizens. We're talking about anybody that just come over here and think because you make it over here and you make it onto the soil, you get to have those same power and influence and rights as true American citizens. I know. I'm talking to the wall. This is all dead now. All dead now. I said this in 2015. Trump should stay like doing what he was doing because he's fighting for a country that's already dead. And every single day, I'm telling you, even all the crazy, great shit and the great moments of having President Trump as our president, that we're able to see an individual person fight against the system and fight, and we able to see a person. The bad part about it is most people that are not Trump, they became beholden to the system because it made them richer, it made them more popular, so they became more beholden to the system. But for him, he's crazy enough to get the middle finger to the CIA when he's the president, to the FBI when he's the president, and he's still fighting against the judges and the Supreme Court and the senators and the congressmen and mayors and Republican Party and the Hollywood and the media. He's still fighting everybody. You get what I'm saying? He's not become beholden to them no matter what. And so happen to be in one of his things that like gives him armor is that he did make himself economically in a position to fight big systems. But we're not talking about this crazy stuff, man. And I'm telling you, I know like different ethnic groups that I love them, and they are great citizens of America. They are great, born and raised America, and they do it better than me. You get what I'm saying? And they're Japanese, they're Indians, they're Africans, they're Jamaicans, they're like, I know them. So I'm not talking about them. They came the right way, and they came with integrity, and they did it with integrity. They didn't do it like these scumbags that they just making citizens.
Liberty, and the pursuit of happiness extends to them too, is no relic of the past. It carried millions of black Americans north during the Great Migration.
Yeah, don't compare Hispanics, Asians, or some people that come over the border illegally and would struggle and all that stuff. Don't compare them to black people. Don't compare gay people to black people. Don't do none of that bullshit. We ain't the same. We ain't got the same roads. We don't got the same history. None of that shit. Nobody's like us. None of them. None of them. None of them. You get what I'm saying? Don't do that. It's disrespectful.
It drew hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans to New York City after the Second World War. It invited countless others from the West Indies and South Asia and West Africa and across the world. And it is what brought my family to this city when I was 7 years old. My family did not arrive by boat.
See, he didn't even know. 7 years old, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm freaking out. This motherfucker came over here at 7 years old, so that means his mother was an immigrant, and that's okay. And he's was an immigrant, and I'm telling you, same thing that happened in London. It's just the most important city in the country, New York, a Muslim mayor, okay? This is just ridiculous, okay? And that's okay if they spoke American. Like they wore like he's got this fluid, he got great articulation to him, he's great oratorial communicator, and he's speaking very great, sounds awesome, doesn't he? Oratorial, if I'm saying that the right way, he got great communication, and he's very good, and it sounds good, but if you listen to what he's saying, it's poison. It's the destruction of America. If you let this rhetoric, if you let what he's saying be the factor, you're done. America's dead. And I do see that it's highly likely that he's on the right track in what he's doing, and he's gonna be the poster child for it. And look, I'm not saying he's not winning. I mean, he is winning, but I'm just saying, nativism, yeah. Black people are native too. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry to tell you, black people. Guess what? You're not an African. You're not from Kenya. Obama father is from Kenya, so it's make him somewhat closer to being from Kenya than you. You're a mutt. You're a mutt. You're a mutt. Your genetics is mixed with all kind of stuff. Irish, Italian, all kind of crazy shit. European, Caucasian. You are a fucking mutt. Okay? Meaning you are a true native of America. When this land got called America, guess who was the true native? The baby that dropped, the genetics that dropped right onto the soil. That's what you are. You're a fucking mutt, and you're a Native American. And Indians are Native Indians are what they called themselves as they tribe land. Okay? But Native American is mutt black people. Okay? That's what it is. Look. Okay, y'all gonna hate me for this. Okay, I understand. I get it. I'm just telling you the truth.
Although we saw the Statue of Liberty from the window of the plane, even from the air, we could make out the promise of America. The promise of the beautiful patriotic work of rendering America, year after year, a little more faithful to its founding ideals. There is a term so often used to describe our nation and those who have shaped it: American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism, the conventional wisdom tells us, makes our freedom a little more free, is how we dug the Erie Canal and irrigated the West, is why children in faraway lands grow up dreaming of one day moving here. And yet the irony is that the story of America has so often been written by those who were told by others with power and influence and wealth that they were anything but exceptional. For generation after generation, we have been told that when the world has sent its people to our shores, it has not sent its best. It sent Puritans and Sikhs and Quakers and Muslims and Jewish people who were banished for praying the wrong way, worshiping the wrong gods.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. When Trump said when Mexico is in different people, where he said Mexico, when they send in the South America was sending pushing a lot of migrations into America, they wasn't sending their best. They were sending like pretty much weak citizens. They were sending like criminals. They were sending rapists. They were sending all kind of people. And some people are good people that's coming for a better life. And they really got good work ethics, and they really got great entrepreneur spirit. So that's how he communicated. Exactly the way I just said it. They are sending weak people. They are sending like criminals. They are sending rapists. They're sending criminals. And some people, absolutely, they are good people. That's how he said. They are good entrepreneurs, and they're going to make the country better. And we see that in the people that came over here the right way. You get what I'm saying? But he's trying to make it like, oh, Jews and this and all these Sikh and all these Sikh, they say they don't want none of that. No, that's the racist shit that y'all say. And that's the racist stuff that y'all communicate, and how you communicate it in order to get an edge on the mindset of the suburban white mom. Because they don't know no better to vet you on the bullshit that you're saying. But that's the bullshit that you're saying in order to give a narrative that if you criticize any flow or any certain type of people, or who the groups of people that's coming in here and what they're coming in, if they come in here and they eating off of food stamps and Social Security and Medicare, if they eating off that for 2 to 3 to 5, 6 to 10 years, we can't call them worthless. We can't call them like not the best of the citizens that they're sending from different countries. No, we can pass our judgment now. After so long, we get to pass our judgment. After we look at $250 billion been spent on illegal immigrants for the last 20 to 25 years. After we see that, we can make some judgment on some of these motherfuckers that's coming over here. $250 billion a year. Could you imagine if they did Shark Tank in the black neighborhoods with $250 billion every year? How prosperous black Americans would have been. This is crazy. Look, I'm done. I'm
angering the wrong people. It sent peasants and serfs from slums and shtetls who were treated as less because they hardly owned clothes, let alone land. It sent immigrants from whom power was something someone else had. We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else. The truth, my friends, is that America is exceptional because here, nothing is fixed into place. The frontier may be closed, we may have walked on the moon, but the work of fulfilling the values first enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, that work endures, and it belongs to us all. It belongs too to our newest Americans, those standing here with me today, all of whom were recently naturalized. Nearly a decade ago, I too felt what you feel, the joy of no longer being just a New Yorker, but an American too. You each hold a special power, the power to determine what America means. The powerful have always known their answer. America, in their view, is an arena of supremacy, where only a select few are allowed freedom, where not all are created equal. America, if you ask them, becomes less the more people it welcomes. America, they will tell you, belongs only to those with the right accent or the right shade of skin. The rest of
just ridiculous. He's a total contradiction to the narrative that he's saying that white Americans or Americans have. Because come on, I'm sure y'all went on X formerly known as Twitter. I'm sure y'all went on enough social media, TikTok and all that stuff, and you see a lot of black people talking about Americanism. and talking against socialism and all this other mindset coming from liberals and stuff like that. You see a lot of people. You see Asians. You see even I see Muslims talk against this crazy stuff. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of good Muslims inside of Dearborn, Michigan. That's very Americanism. And they talk against this crazy socialist weak shit. You get what I'm saying? And the psychological warfare stuff that liberals and the socialists and these anarchists are trying to put onto the country. So he's a fluid, coming here 7 years old, and he's fluently speaking American, and he's arrogant with jewelry and clothes and culture, elitism, rapping and dancing and loving all our degenerate culture. He's kind of a subject of America in his way, but that's how they get y'all. They wear that as clothes. When he's rapping, when he's acting like he's a sports fan, when he's kind of doing all the crazy stuff that he's doing, like he loves the culture, that's the clothes he wear to con you, to make you feel like he can relate. He's okay with your life, your lifestyle, but underneath is a deeper, darker agenda. Okay, and it's somewhere between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Okay, and I'll let y'all look. I can do this all day.
Of us, they insist, should be grateful for merely being allowed to visit. How small they are, how weak, how unoriginal.
It's ridiculous.
At every moment,
and they talk about these boogeymans that they invent, these concept of people and narratives that they invent. How weak your own mindset is. How weak the thought process inside your head, the racism that's inside your head, the judgments inside your head, the weird shit you got going on in your head, how weak that is. You're right. You are weak. And you only hide behind money, because that's what will protect you. Money. Money protects you. Money lets you run your mouth. Money lets you do stuff to send anarchists and send radical people to your opposition and physically harm them. Look at them, y'all. Pay attention. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. That ain't no good person, y'all. That is an elitist with elitist propaganda and manipulation. Saul Alinsky thought process and manipulation. Henry Wallace thought process and manipulation. Look it up.
in our past, those who led through exclusion and isolation have tried to win power and enrich themselves by turning us against one another. Division is the oldest trick in politics and the cheapest. But time and again,
it's so great because the trick that they use is to say they're not what they're doing. Everything that they do is division. But they say they're not doing division. And if you don't see the manipulation in that, if you don't see the psychological warfare in that, then you lost. And most people don't. They're not picking it up. They don't see it. They're not even confident in themselves to even call it out or even say, okay, let me listen to what he's saying and let me vet it. Let me put it through the process of truthism. It just sounds good. It's if he's using divisionism, because like a person that's not dividing people, they're not gonna use dividing rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? They're not, because they're like, hey, I ain't trying to divide you. I'm giving you like stuff that you need for your own personal life and what you need to do for your own personal life and how life is and what you need to do to counteract anything that's against what your better value to your own personal life and how you can counteract things that harm you and harm your family. I'm just going to put it out there on the table. This is what this situation is. This is how you probably need to handle it when you see this coming up. That's Trump. That's people like me. Him, they'll do stuff that they feel I gotta pass this policy. I want to do this to the system. I want to do this to the process of how people eat, how people move around, what happens to the money and all that stuff. I want to do this. I want to make this judgment because I think it's the best from all people. I'm the moral superior person over everybody, and I'm gonna do what I think is better for people overall. And even if it takes your freedom away from you, if what hurts you help majority, I'm for it. That's what he's saying. Pay attention, y'all.
Including 250 years ago, those forces of division have been vanquished by the forces of progress. As Thomas Paine once wrote, "This new world hath been the asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty. Hither have they fled." And yet today...
And you got to pay attention. He'll use your own philosophers and all that stuff against you. And this is Saul Alinsky stuff, y'all. Look it up. Rules for Radicals. Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. I know you're not going to read it. And I hope they got an audio book for it. But trust me, all this manipulation, you'll understand it. You'll understand Obama more. You'll understand all these people more. You'll understand all these crazy radical people. And they all are. Even Obama and the people that think like Obama and the people that share Obama's thought process, they're radicals. Even to this idiot, Madani. You cannot say Madani, he's an idiot. But you'll better understand it if you read Saul Alinsky. Rules for Radical. His author name is Saul Alinsky. The book is called Rules for Radical.
Too many of our leaders do not believe in a vision of this nation as an asylum for the persecuted, but rather as one that persecutes those seeking asylum. As we mark 250 years, what do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans.
It's so fucking funny. An ICE agent goes into a restaurant on his lunch break or maybe for dinner, you know what I mean? And he ain't coming in with his ICE hookup on, but they may go into the hotel, take a shower, and go to dinner. And that they go into a Mexican restaurant, that they go into an actual Ethiopian restaurant or Italian restaurant or whatever the hell restaurant that they may go. They're keeping tabs on them, and the actual Antifa and all the radical activist groups are keeping tabs on all the agents and taking photos and going to like protests against them while they're eating and stuff. They're doing all this radical stuff of ICE agents going to a legal professional restaurant, which for me, I'm 100% good that I could say a lot of those places are ran by illegal immigrants too. So they're legal establishments also, because you can't run an establishment as a legal immigrant because you don't have a social security number and you're not a citizen of America, and that we put these fake ass social securities and all these fake IDs that we give to illegal immigrants. That's a fake ID because that citizen don't have a birth certificate, and they don't have a birth certificate from America, and they don't have a way to trace them back to who they are and where they came from and all the other stuff, that we give them legal documents. That's illegal, y'all. A state can't make a federal traveler a citizen. Look, I'm tired of this.
We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And
like no legal immigrant or legal ethnic group that's actual legal citizens, they don't work hard. They don't do the hard work with restaurants and farming and all that stuff. It's only illegal immigrants. It's only people that came here in search of another life illegally, and we needed them. So no matter how you came into the country, we needed them. Fucking crazy.
See a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few. Yes, we see America in a health insurance industry that exploits the sick, but that is not all we see when we look for America. We see it too in the nurse who works a double shift and then stops on her way home to check on an ailing neighbor. Yes, we see America in corporate landlords for whom negligence is a business model. We see it too in the father.
Yeah, America's a shitty fucking place, y'all. That's, in other words, that's what he's saying. It's a shitty place. Don't be celebrating this bullshit. And all these new people that bust their ass to become American citizens, or whatever the hell they did, or they somewhat got like mandated into our weak ass Tom Homan and his policies, and him allowing people to just become Americans because, you know, they don't want to fight. You get what I'm saying? It's weak stuff. I can rant and rave about this forever. But these people holding that flag up and let him spit all on the purpose of America. They not saying, hey, look, I'm America. I'm proud to be America. Ain't nothing better than America. I came here legally. I came here the right way. And I don't want to pay no factor to anybody that came in here the wrong way. They not saying that. They go to this propaganda that he's talking.
Who tucks his children into bed beneath a ceiling stained with leaks, who wakes before dawn to go to work and still believes his country can do better by his family. Yes, we see America when we spend our tax dollars on bombs and bailouts, when we sell our elections for the highest bidder. Yet we see it just as clearly.
Hey, fucker, and all you people at home, I don't care if you like me or you're not. I don't got that many viewers anyway, so I do this for historical value, okay? Your taxes, if they're going to take it from you, the number one reason is for bombs, okay? To fucking kill everybody that comes to harm our land, that harm our territory. Anybody, Canada, Mexico, any country under the sun, if they fuck around with American soil and the American people, our military and all our weaponry, number one purpose is to fuck them up. The number one reason that money should be taken from you is for warfare. But we got a number now. We know that about $1.5 million. I'm sorry, I don't mean to correct that. $1.5 trillion can secure anything we need to do to protect America's soil. Spies, whatever, missiles, bombs, drones, whatever. $1.5 trillion. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. $1.5 trillion can secure any possible thing that can possibly happen and protect us from any possible thing that can happen to America. That's how much it costs. They take that 1.5 trillion, which they're not really giving up 1.5 trillion. They somewhat fight it. They fight at 800 billion to 1 trillion, but it's really hard to get them to do 1.5 trillion. But they take the 1.5 trillion from $6 trillion of taxes that we collect from the American people every single year. Every single year. Do you understand that? We make it so much money in America that $6 trillion get taken from the American people, and $1.5 trillion may be debated if it get used to protect our land in any way possible. Protect the American people in any possible way. That's what the fight is. So that means if you're actually adding this up, $4.5 trillion get completely blown on stupid shit, on things we really need to decide what the hell you spending that on, and should we spend that money on that. What you should do, number one reason, that's taxes. Go look at the Constitution, y'all. Go look at the Bill of Rights. Go look at your stuff, your paperwork. The number one reason to tax the people is to protect the people. To have an actual arm in a military, in National Guard, in a way to protect the American people. So sometimes you can even theorize to give it to fire departments, to give it to the local police department. Why? Because that's a way of protecting the people. That's a good filtering way to get down to the average person, the individual person. So that's in debate. But we use city taxes or state taxes to do that. But the federal government collects $6 trillion every single year to protect the American people. That's what your taxes, that's what it's actually supposed to go to. Now, all the other shit that it goes to, I don't care what it is. All the other shit that it goes to, that's unconstitutional. That's corruption by your congressman, your senator. It's corruption. Okay? That's what that is. So when they say all this shit, I want you to understand, number one reason to tax and use the tax money for is bombs. If our president, we put our president in charge of this, if he wakes up and decides that everybody need to be nuked in order to keep the safety of America, and he has legitimate video documents, recordings, whatever, to show that it's absolutely the move we gotta make. That's what you get your that's the number one reason taxes are paid for. Okay? The great part about it is that's not a situation. Okay? But I just want you to know, when people say shit like that, our taxes aren't supposed to be used for bombs. Yes, it is. Absolutely. 100% it is. If we got to put somebody in their place, that's the number one reason why our taxes are used for. And it's been proven for the last 70 years that it's effective. Okay? Yeah, we the big bad wolf. We got to do some deep internal stuff going on to what's going on in the political military complex and CIA. We really got to dig in. There's some shady shit going on in there. And they do some wild shit that may not be necessary. Okay? But that's another conversation. But number one is military, is protection. Your tax is supposed to be used for. Don't bitch and moan about the 1.5 trillion. Bitch and moan about the 4.5 trillion. And none of you, you're a bunch of piece of shit people. You will never vet yourself and scrutinize yourself for never looking at all your black caucus, all the senators, all the congressmen for dropping the ball on that. What the fuck are they doing with the 4.5 trillion? Don't theorize. Don't let them tell you what they're doing with it. You need to see every dollar. You need to make sure that they release all transactions of the Treasury. That will show you where that money is going to and who it's going to. This was ruled in the judge all the way up to the appellate court, all the way to the Supreme Court, that the federal government can look at the Treasury and where every dollar got sent out as a check and got and transferred to. Why are they not doing it? Because it's some elitist, spy, spook shit going on inside our country to stop that. Why? Because they want the destruction of our country. So, number one reason is to spend your taxes on 1.5. I tell you, that's all you're gonna need. The craziest stuff we can do to protect ourselves in military and weaponry and all that stuff. We found out that technically you don't need more than $1.5 trillion. We found this out. This is all facts now. That means $4.5 trillion. Y'all got to be better stewards of that. You got to really decide, are they really using that $4.5 trillion the right way? No. But if you want to try to be intelligent or intellectual or an advisor or a person that gives philosophical beliefs, or you want to be able to be a person of great mind, give me some answers on that. let's go look at the real work on that. And number one reason is stop giving you should not be giving a dime to illegal immigrants. They should starve and crawl back out of the country to go find some food. But thank God I'm not a politician, right?
In every American who still believes this country belongs to we, the people. We see America each time neighbors link arms with neighbors, without asking how long they have lived here or what papers they have, as ICE invades our neighborhoods.
You hear this shit? Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Listen to him.
We see America each time those young and old stand in the beating rain or the stifling heat to cast their ballots. We see America each time working people demand more, not just for themselves, but for their fellow Americans. There are some who respond to those who ask for more from America with a simple refrain. Love it or leave it, they say. But patriotism has never been about pretending our nation is without flaws. Patriotism is every act of righteous dissent. It is every march led under the heavy sun.
No, bitch. Love it or leave it.
It is every protest held a decade before its time. It is precisely because we love this nation that we will not leave it. After all, who loves America more than those who have sacrificed so much to make it free? Today, I think not only of the 4th of July, I think too of the 9th of July. 5 days after the Declaration of Independence was signed, it arrived here in our New York City. Redcoats had disembarked on Staten Island. More than 100 British ships loomed just offshore. Across this city, the Continental Army prepared for an invasion. George Washington commanded his brigades to assemble just a few feet from this building. It was known then as the Commons. Today, we call it City Hall Park. There, within range of British guns, Washington ordered his generals to read the Declaration aloud. And with the world's mightiest empire poised to attack, Washington told the people of New York City what we will celebrate tomorrow, that we had declared our independence, that freedom was within reach. That evening, danger loomed. Conflict was not a question, but a certainty. And yet when those early New Yorkers marched toward the statue of King George III that stood in the Bowling Green, a statue they would melt down into bullets for their young army, they walked in unison, grounded not in the pursuit of plunder, but in ideals that for the first time had a name: America. Those ideals upon which our nation was built, they are strong enough to endure any authoritarian regime, but only if we reach for them. Ours is a nation working each day towards the perfection in which it was conceived, a nation striving each day to better itself. Therein lies the work of America.
And that's the thing. But you don't have any evidence that we're not striving to be better. We're not striving to improve every single day. Every single day you see it. We always striving to be better. You can't have where Black Americans were in the early 1800s to where Black Americans are now. You can't say that's proof of progress, of an improvement of the situation. Craziness.
The striving, the bettering, the reaching towards perfection. What a privilege each of us has to live in a nation that every one of its inhabitants can shape. What a responsibility each of us possesses to prove ourselves worthy of all those who came before. What power each of us holds to bring America ever closer to the greatness so many have seen when they looked upon these shores. The greatness that, for 250 years, has been America. Thank you. God bless America. God bless New York City.
Yes, look, the con is the way he's articulating it. The con is the way he's articulating. Hey, look, and I gave it to him. I'll let y'all listen to the whole goddamn thing, okay? I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't want to give him no space, but I did walk you through. It's all bullshit. And if you don't believe, then trust me. A lot of the candidates that y'all elected, that they jobs were FBI agents. Okay, and they jobs with CIA agent before those are the worst. They speak, you make them, they sound so good and neutral and communicative and unifying, but it's all a opposition attack, and that's what Madani does. He's very adversarial. He's very like. He'll wear that smile. He articulates it in great English dictation and good oratorial communication and everything. He sounds so good, but what he got in mind and what his actions are not for America, and it's not for the future of America, and it's for some crazy, wild, radical stuff. Look, I'm gonna end it there. Okay, look, I know. You can hate me all you want. I said some crazy shit in here. Okay, I did. You know, I somewhat say, you know what, that was a little harsh. That was probably brutal. Okay, but it was the truth, and I don't regret it. I think I articulated it pretty good. You know what I mean? I just don't like certain things, and I emphasized on that. Okay, look, my name is Daris D. McKinney. I know, Individual Perspective Podcast. Okay, I know it's brutal. It's very brutal. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's just the way it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. 250th anniversary of America. Happy birthday, America. You know what I mean? By the time we wake up and do this again tomorrow, it'll be 250. Okay, so look, y'all, I'm just trying to walk you through. We the people. Okay, let's get it going. I'll see you next time. Like, share, subscribe.